On your phone, eh? Good. Any OCS number on your phone? Then you're a good class. Good. The next thing I want you to note and to answer this question is, how many rescue homes do you know? How many rescue homes or safe houses for the abused or these people do you know you can take to? Do you know of any? Do you know of any? Please write down and let your neighbor check on you. Okay? Please sign for the other person. If he has 1, give 5 marks. If he has 2, 10 marks. If he has nothing, please give 0. You know, that round thing. Yes. Rescue homes and safe houses. We are talking about safeguarding. Do you know of any? Now, I've been doing investigation, okay? I've done a number of investigation, but we will get there. The objective of this unit or this discussion today is to prepare church leaders and safeguarding teams to investigate abuse allegation with justice and integrity. Okay? Justice and integrity. You must think, when we come to justice, there is legal and ethical consideration. Okay? There is the civil law, and safeguarding falls here. The civil law. The civil law is what safeguarding and protection falls under. Okay? The canon law is where the bishops discipline the clergy misconduct. I think I was told somewhere here. The canon law, the clergy misconduct. Okay, sasa kameanza ku misbehave like the other one. Okay, so which one? Oh, yeah, now I get the idea. Okay, so here, the canon law. This is where the bishops, and you know, the clergy mostly we are sworn into canonical obedience to the bishop. So after prayers and consultation, we have decided to do what? But do we really understand the canon law? So when the clergy is involved in sexual abuse, where does the bishop go? Or what happened? Let's continue. Ethical responsibilities. It's a moral duties based on principles of right and wrong, often guided by professional codes of conduct or religious belief. The responsibility is acting with integrity, protecting the vulnerable like children, reporting abuse, and maintaining confidentiality and respect for others. I'm going fast because some of these things we have already discussed them, okay? We have already done that. Now there is God's justice. Sawa sawa. Aya. You must understand God's way of justice. So we follow God's way to make right that which is wrong. Then we are saying, in the Bible, justice is not just a legal concept, but a deep expression in God's character and concern for humility. Oh, humanity, yes, humanity. So please note, when you're doing justice or when you're handling those things that are wrong and you're trying to make them right, always remember it's a concern for God and his character. So that you make sure there is justice. There is no cover up, there is no, and you follow. And then there is investigation, part of it. And investigation is when dealing with safeguarding matters. It is crucial to approach investigation and due process, which is just process, carefully, ethically, and lawfully to protect the rights both the alleged victim and alleged perpetrator. Are we together? There are stages. Stage number 1. During the investigation stage, you should gather facts, not opinion. You should gather facts, not opinion. A, initial concern or disclosure. Who made the report? Name, role, and relationship to the child. Date and time of disclosure. exact words used by the child or informant, record, as you can see, context in which the disclosure was made during class or in a private meeting. That is stage number 1. Number 2, B, child's detail. Name, age, gender, address, school or institution, any visible signs of harm or neglect, child's accounts, feelings, and demeanor. C, alleged perpetrator details. Name, role, is it a staff, a volunteer, a peer, an outsider, and contact information. Then, relationship to the child. Incident details, as it is written, date, time, location, nature of concern, physical, emotional neglect, all that. Any witnesses to the account, supporting evidence, photos, medical reports, messages. Then immediate action taken, safety measures, separating child and alleged perpetrator, referrals made to the police, child protection services, or medical. Notification of parents, guardian, unless this could put the child at further risk. Okay? Then stage 2, during just process or fair procedure. Always ensure the process respects both child protection principles and the rights of the accused. Okay? Then A, in this stage, informing the accused when and how they were informed of the allegation, opportunity given to respond to the allegations, support provided to them. Some people need to go on leave so that the investigation can be done, and then access to counsel. B, internal inquiry procedures. Who conducted the investigation, include qualifications, how evidence were reviewed, documents, interviews, notes from interviews, including questions asked and responses given, any challenges or conflict of interest declared. And these are the places and these are the times when tunasikianga, or we hear, some files went missing. Some things cannot be found. It is crucial. C, findings and outcomes. Clear summary of findings based on evidence, whether the allegation was substantiated, unsubstantiated, false, or malicious. Recommended actions, e.g., disciplinary measures, referrals, training needs. D, record keeping. Maintain confidential, secure, and well-organized records. Ensure all reports, notes, correspondences, and decisions are logged with dates and names of those involved. Follow up and review. Was the child supported? Was the accused treated fairly and updated on the outcome? Were safeguarding policies updated as a result? Was the incident reported to the relevant authorities or governing bodies? Sometimes the church never follows any of this. Sometimes the church actually, sometimes we don't follow all this. And we become culpable and culprits because we want to cover up things. Okay? In their manuals you have and you are given. Page 8, there is a procedures for handling a concern in the church. There is 1, 2, and 3. You can go through them later. There is a procedure that was given there. How in the parishes, in the diocese, how you can handle cases, where to refer them. Does this need referral? And how do we do this? And then this means that when you go back to the parishes, dioceses have to come up with safeguarding committees. The same way we have Kama, Sunday school, and all that. Each parish should have a committee to implement the safeguarding policy and to see that these cases are handled properly and in the right way. In a safeguarding and church context, justice involves, number 1, upholding truth and fairness in handling allegations. The church, we stand for the truth. We are to be fair. We cannot be involved in protecting criminals in our churches just because one is a clergy, a pastor, or close relative or something like that. Number 2, protecting the vulnerable and ensuring their voices are heard it is our work to make sure we protect these groups of individuals. Number 3, holding perpetrators accountable through appropriate and lawful processes. You remember the case we had when we began here. No justice was not given. Number 4, balancing compassion with discipline. Hello? We are more compassionate than discipline and taking action. We are more on that. We must ensure no party is unfairly judged or mistreated. This is what we are saying. This is what we need to know. That justice is not just about punishment. It is also about restoring dignity, preventing harm, and building trust within the community. So we must make sure if harm occurs, normally when I talk about safeguarding, I refer to it as you install a fence on top of the cliff. That is what safeguarding to me is. Because when the fence is broken, then we move to the protection where an ambulance is now down there at the bottom of the cliff. And we are saying we must restore dignity. When we are handling these matters, we must remember to restore dignity. We must prevent harm from occurring again. We must build trust. And all this context is within the community. Now, to be just, praise the name of the Lord, to be just, or for us to achieve justice, we must understand God and justice. God protects and rewards the just. Proverbs 2:7-8. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the cause of the just. And Psalm 37:28, as you can see, just people are under God's special care, and he honors their commitment to righteousness. I think I want you to ask your neighbor whether, are you a just person? You know? Or are you corrupt and you're sitting in our midst? You know, you could be very corrupt and you're here sitting with us and we are talking about God's justice. And you see the way I went through the struggle to try and show love, how God loves us. You know, fiery love. But you could be sitting here and you're corrupt and you're not feeling the love of Christ. You must feel the love of, if you're a just person, the love of Christ is for you. Praise the name of the Lord. Now we have investigative question, but I'm going to jump and go to this. I was doing, when I was given this topic, I think about a month ago or so, I went out to do some research. And this investigation is what I conducted through the police stations at my background in Machakos. And I also visited the children offices. And I met with a prosecutor at Milimani Law Courts. And I was able to gather some information. Number one abuse we have in the country is neglect. This one. Wait, it's a point. Yes, that one. Okay? It is neglect. It is. Actually, in our country, Kenya, right now, the number one abuse that is going on is neglect. That is what the courts are handling. That is what the children offices are handling. That is what is happening in our country right now. The causes of neglect is that there are family breakdowns that is happening. The separation and the divorce in our country is on the rise. Most parents are actually neglecting their children. The children, like if you go to Milimani Law Courts, in the children office where my sister works, children are forever there. They are forever there because the father doesn't want to take care of the children, the mother doesn't want to take care of the children either, and the community is left, and now the children are pushed to the children offices. That is actually number one in our country right now. I don't know your country, what is number one, but in our country, in the cases that I went through and the interviews I did, the neglect is the one on the rise. Number two, the neglect is caused by, like you say, shakahora, right? Spiritual abuse. We have parents who are joining cults and also moving with the children and also forcing children to fast. They brainwash them. The children end up missing school. They are fasting, they are not eating, they become unhealthy. And this is why most of, like, I know there was a case the other day. Did you see a case where they did, the government went and pushed away a particular church somewhere? The spiritual abuse is also a cause for the neglect that is on the rise right now. There's a breakdown in the family. And this is something the church we need to address seriously because it is happening at our back. You know very well the Anglican Church have strong foundation on moral fabric and spiritual ground. But there are cults that are coming up with funny pastors and all that. And we need to really address this, so to save the life of the children who are there. Then we have defilement coming up as number two. The defilement, it is a sexual abuse. Even the other, I heard you were talking about a father who was defiling there. It is now coming in as number two. It is coming in as number two. And there are parents who are actually defiling their children. And they are also neighbors. The boda guys, I don't know, our friends from other countries, I don't know whether you are going to understand the boda guys. Motorcycle guys, yes, because parents give the children early in the morning, take the child to school, bring all that. And they are also culprit. They are raping the children when they are taking them to school and when they are picking them up. It is also a case. So this criminal case, it is a criminal case and we need to follow them up. I said perpetrators of abuse in the eyes of the law, number one are the parents. They are causing neglect and defilement. Right now in our country, that is what is going on. And in cases of child neglect, the courts may opt for mediation. In case of child neglect, mediation occurs, especially when the child welfare can be restored through counseling and support. This is where mediation comes in cases of neglect. In defilement case, mediation has no play in that. Sukuma mtu jera, okay? You take the person to, someone talked about child to child abuse. It is happening. It is happening. I'll share something as we go on. But we have uncles who rape, who are sodomizing. Send me your pictures. So instead of nannies taking their own pictures, they are taking the children pictures and sending them to out there. Okay? We also have nannies who are sodomizing boy child. Yes, it is actually happening. Small boys and all that. We also have neighbors are also in prayer. We have teachers with cap. Isn't it sad? What is a pastor supposed to do? You are here so that you don't become a perpetrator, and you are the perpetrator. Saying we need to stop abuse, neglect, and exploitation. In cases of defilement, the offender is prosecuted and if found guilty, faces a life sentence here in Kenya. And additionally, if it is established that the child's mother or any other adult was aware of the crime but failed to protect the child, they may be sentenced up to 10 years in prison for abetting and failing to prevent the offense. This is where we are saying the father, but the father is abusing the child, or vice versa, or anything of the sort. The court does not take that rightly because you did not take steps to prevent or to stop or to report. So mothers are also being jailed right now, okay? This is a case study I came through. 14-year-old who had married 3 wives. Yes. So in this case, the 14-year-old online, you understand online, right? And he had even created fake certificates of marriage. And what happened was the girl or the girls would wake up early in the morning, do the wife-free duty online. Online sex, or all those things before she goes to school or before they go to school. But the boy is recording everything. And then they went along until the guy now sent marriage certificate to each. These children are less than 13 years old. It is 12 years and 13 years. The three girls were 12 years and 13 years. One girl, one more, you need to send me 100,000. If you don't, I'm going to expose these pictures online. And we have parents who are now using money to parent their children. I went to the father and she was given 100,000 and sent to the guy. The second one was told the same story, but it is the 200,000 that was the attention of the parents, and the case was followed up. Because now it was proven this child of 14-year-old was abusing the three wives. Do you even call them wives? I don't know what you call them. I wrote wives because I wanted it to sink in. This is happening. So children to children abuse. This is happening. Let me take you further to this. Children in conflict with the law. What is the age of criminal responsibility? What is of children in conflict with the law? Because the blackmail, the threat, the fake marriages, the bribery, that kid belongs where? Where does that child belong? Where? If he's able to ask for a bribe and receive it, and he's 14 years old, so I don't want you to leave this conference just thinking that it is only the children who are also being abused, but also we have children who are abusing the law and children who are also abusing. Okay? And the children who are in conflict with the law are minors typically, individuals under 18 years who are alleged to have committed or have been found guilty of breaking the law. Offenses from minor infractions to serious crimes. I was being told of a child who pushed the mother fell and the mother died. Where do we take those children? Okay? A child caught stealing for assault or vandalism. A child violating curfew laws or trespassing. This is what we are having consideration. However, these children are not just offenders, they are also rights holders, entitled rehabilitation and fair treatment. Many come from vulnerable backgrounds like poverty, lack of education, and unstable homes. The juvenile justice system focuses more on reformation and integration, often using diversion, counseling, or community services instead of incarceration. So the justice system in this country, or what we do, there is the juvenile system. And this Act and juvenile justice in Kenya, the Children Act 2022 and related legal frameworks aims to ensure children prioritize non-custodial measures like community service and probation, uphold the child's best interest, dignity, and rehabilitation. That is the goal when it comes to this kind of children. that prosecuting a child offender should be the last option, and public prosecutor should consider other ways of disposing unless the seriousness of the offense or circumstances of the child concerned dictate otherwise. The prosecutor I was with, or the one I was interviewing, talked to me extensively on how even the magistrate do diversion and mediation and so much so that the child does not go to jail. Are we together? Are we together? It is actually the last option. The last option. The last option. This is where we are. This is what we need. We need church and police partnership in safeguarding. Because there are cases that really need intervention of the police, and most cases need intervention of the police. And we are saying the church can play a vital role in supporting the police in safeguarding children and vulnerable people by using its unique position of trust, moral authority, and community presence. This is what the church can do. We need to work together to prevent and respond to abuse and neglect. On the side of the police can support the church in safeguarding and community well-being through patient protection and capacity building. But what are we doing to our police? There's a video. Have you seen that video going online? A police car had an accident. But what did those people say? Wacha akufe. Ni kama si? As in, we are not protecting our police. They had an accident, and instead of the community going to save, they are shouting, let them die. But we need the police. If your child, does the church have courts? No, we use the courts of the country. Who will come and arrest that person? Is it the bishop? Is it you? You need the police. You need the police. And so this partnership matters because it enhances protection for vulnerable groups, improve case and resolutions, and then build community trust and accountability. So what can police do for the church? Train capacity building, responding and investigating reports. I was concerned because we are here and become an investigator. But what do you know about investigation? What do you know about investigation? You will need who? You will need a detective. You will need a police officer. Because most of the time, you will even tamper with them. Yes, we need these people to come in to secure the evidence. Otherwise, the case will be thrown out because of lack of enough evidence. We must have the police who respond to and investigate the reports. So there is a stage there after you have done your part. To the detective, you involve the police and all that. Then community policing and outreach. These police come in. Ensuring security at church events. We need them as well. And also to secure vulnerable groups. They partner with the church to protect children, women, and elderly, and persons with disabilities. Help remove guidance on legal and regulatory compliance. I don't think our bishops are lawyers. I don't think our clergy are lawyers as well. And I don't think many of us know much about the law. We need these people. Mediation and conflict resolution. It is good we have mediators in our churches. But we also need to hear the voice of the government, the police, and all that. We create relations with the police. Praise the name of the Lord. I want us to go back to the investigation question. Don't know whether I'm going to, oh, yes, there was. Ukiwa hapo unaweza iset. There? I need the investigation question. Could you set them for me? Good. Now, I want us to break to our groups. I'm going to invite John Mark, if that's okay. So, yeah, let me, okay. Go back from the start to investigative questions. I want you to become an investigator a little bit, okay? So, yeah, go to the investigation question. Yeah, that one, investigative question. Go to the first question. John Mark, I want you to guide this. We have 5 questions, okay? The first question, the case study, is about an unsafe environment in a residential program. And the scenario is, so if you can guide some groups in 5, or the way we were doing, people to turn to their own, and then we divide the groups. Yes.
So we don't have to create new ones.
So, and then we are going to give the question. So, group 1, that is your question, okay? The children attending a weekend camp organized by the church are left unsupervised for long periods. One child gets injured during this time, and there are no clear records of which adult was responsible for supervision. So investigative questions focus is, was a risk assessment carried out before the event? Are supervision ratios and responsibility clearly defined? How can future events ensure better accountability and child safety? That is group 1, okay? Group 2, please. Put for me that question. So this group do question 1, the second group question 2. Could you display for me? Oh yes, that one. Someone come and take the picture here so that you can do together, because they may not be displayed all of them together.
doing question 3.
Were saying that this staff had she see her reporting this. There was no formal training. And confused which systems and which place. But we said protection policies that help which case should be reported where. And in this scenario where we could not see where report was made, it means the systems were not in place. And the last one was about how should signs repeated, warning signs be handled. Yes. Those warnings and could have led to could have been reported according to the system was in place. Thank you.
I was just wondering if that was in your church academy. The answers they have given are good paper answers. Good paper answers. You can write a thesis on that. But children coming to your school are hungry. How do you solve that? I know school breakfast. Question is, so we go beyond the paper. That's why we kept on saying the policy is nice. Beyond that, group 1.
I think I've highlighted. Question 1? Question 1? Yes. Oh, sir. Okay. Our question was, children attending a weekend are left unsupervised for long periods. One child gets injured during this time, and there are no clear-cut records of which adult was responsible for supervision. Now, investigative questions is one. Was a risk assessment carried out before the event? And then supervision was supervision ratios and responsibilities clearly defined? And how can future events ensure better accountability and child safety? Now, on question 1, actually, when you look at this scenario, it's a case of negligence. And although we're told there was planned, it looks like there was poor planning and the absence of clear-cut procedures. School for the children. Now, there is no evidence that risk assessment was carried out as per the. On question 2, was the supervision ratios and responsibilities are not clearly defined. This may not, we are assuming that the teachers or the handlers of the children may not understand the procedures and responsibilities that they are given of supervision of the children caretakers. Those ones who take care of the children, there is lack of overall supervision by the person in charge, maybe if it's the priest or somebody. So and that's why they can be able to take off for long periods of time and come back. It's like the accountability measure is not in place. Now in question 3, how should future events, here we talk about having in place structures and systems on child protection during retreats, and then there is also need for planning and training of the child handlers before the event for those assigned the duties, so that clear-cut boundaries and responsibilities are outlined. And also there is need to carry out organizational self-assessment to check how the people are carrying out their responsibilities. It's very important. And also there is also person to accompany children during such a scenario. Needed to have contacts of the persons they can always run to in case there is need. Thank you.
Let's appreciate the group. Thank you.
We had the same ideas, but probably let's talk about the risk assessment is accompanied with a mitigation plan so that any risks have a solution, and that is part of the arrangement. Then we were thinking that every child, every event, you have to have a bio profile of the child, the parents, if the child has special needs, and any medication that the child is taking, that kind of arrangement, so that anytime anything goes wrong with the children,
our question out, including giving aid to the pastor, but no action is taken. The first question, were the boundaries of appropriate behavior explained during volunteer training? Our answer is most likely it was not explained because we can say that when the volunteers saw the fear of volunteer going beyond the boundaries, and he was giving a special attention to one child at the exclusion of others, and most likely or ordinarily he wanted to attract this child, and this is something that happened consistently on one child with the aim most likely to attract this child. Question number 2, is there a clear reporting mechanism and response protocol? We have said that from what we see is that the pastor did not respond, and therefore that is likely that he did not know what to do with
media, but it is not monitored. The third one, the answer was, we are going to advise the church to initiate online safeguarding policy to protect children using the social media. And the other one was under 3, we raise awareness on the negative effects of using social media. Thank you.
Handling the same question, question 5. The first focused question, are there safeguarding policies addressing online communication? Yes, there are, like data protection policy and also the Children Safeguarding Policy 2022 Act 2022. How is social media use monitored and related in the organization? Data Protection Act, and what steps should be taken when digital boundary violations are suspected? We investigate first, then take appropriate action.
Thank you. Let's appreciate the two groups. Let me ask Kenyans, how many of us have seen the Data Protection Act? We have heard of it. How many have seen it? The Data Protection Act in Kenya that protects every information about you. Yes, let's see those hands again so that you can actually be sure, because this is what Bishop Emily was saying, that sometimes we have information, but it is on our shelves. First group said there was no policy. The second one quoted the government law. but now for that church, we don't see. We also have the Act. Most of us know it exists. but nobody in our church has picked it up. Now, this is what will scare us. How many have seen the Anglican Church of Kenya child protection policy?
We need the panel here. We have the panel. Hello? Can I ask?
Yes, yes.
Yes, please ask.
Yes, I am asking a question, just a concern, that in cases, for example, where the ACK child protection policy has not been contextualized in a church and a scenario happens and you're asking, are there safeguarding policies addressing online or whatever? Now, if this case goes to court and such investigation is done and there are no policies to protect the children or even the code of conduct, who is answerable? Is it the perpetrator or the church itself or the school, or what happens?
I'll give you a case at a church where we were actually prosecuted, okay, because of abuse. I am actually paying that person $500,000, the church. If you don't safeguard or implement system, you will be, the church itself, you will lose money. You will be prosecuted. Okay? So it is that serious. And I'm saddened because I am one of the TOT since 2019 when our Archbishop just across the province. Last week we were in Baringo where we trained over almost 600 Sunday school teachers. We cover the safeguarding, the child protection policy, the charter. The problem we have is the diocese never sends teachers or those training. Number two, the child protection policy. When you don't send your coordinator or the teachers, it never reaches you. You actually respond down there. It is there. That thing has been there since 2018. The charter is there, the child protection is there, and now we have the safeguarding, which you have a copy. What are you going to do with it? It never gets down to the people because the people responsible are not willing to do anything about it. Yes?
Last question.
Thank you. Just want to come on the sign of neglect and give an example what happened in Burundi. There was a school when children were coming in dirty clothes, also hungry, and an NGO offered to give food and provide uniforms. And the following day, a young boy in a P6 came back to school without the uniform. And the teacher was very angry with him, saying, "Why are you not wearing your uniform?" He kept quiet. And then he was sent back home to bring the parent. When the father came back with a young boy, he was wearing the uniform of that boy. You're the parent.
Okay.
Yes, and you understand the situation. Because they were so poor that the child, the father, for him, the child could go without clothes, but the parent was the one now to have the priority to wear that uniform.
I want to...
And now I'm saying now, what do we do in kind of this context where people can show the sign of neglect, but parents are not responsible for that because the condition people are living in. So we need also to do a deeper investment, find out the root causes why the child may appear in that condition. Thank you.
One of the mandates of the church is to take care of the weak, the vulnerable, the poor. Many churches we have today that their tithes and offering and the mission money goes to handle such cases, because that is where the church should come in. When we say, like in the government of Kenya right now, there are no safe houses and rescue centers. They are full. One is at Tomotomo, Wamomo, I don't know where, and they are so far. Such things of building safe houses and rescue centers and going out of their way to take care of this group. We need to do something about it. Build a home and then bring people who are qualified, counselors. The church needs counselors. We need to send now our money that way to take care and to safeguard these individuals. We need to do that. Yes. He's been raising hand forever. Please give him
as he talks, I would ask that the panel that was supposed to have the session now, please come. But we'll also ask the bishops who are going to handle the role of the bishops to also come, because we realize that all of them are bishops. So come over. We want to give you the most of the time so that we will be able to break in, go for tea, and come back and finish with all the bishops seated at the front. So could I ask all of them to come as he answers? Not all the bishops, but all the ones in the panel. Is that okay? Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry to have raised my hand repeatedly. I come from a school setting, having been an administrator for about 16 years. And I wanted to reflect the right position on question number 3, whereby it has been assumed that there is no system in place. It is not correct. In school, when that child appeared, I have it in my head.
Display question 3, please.
The child who is coming and is dirty, the first responsibility is borne by the teacher on duty. Now it will come as an indiscipline case and it will be recorded. If it recurs, it will go to guidance and counseling in the school. And if it recurs again, it will go to the parents and the relevant authorities will take charge. So I wanted to alert many of us who are here, because we are sponsors and owners of schools, that we should also give a chance to the authorities in school and use the laws of the land, the Education Act number 14 of 2013, the Children's Act, and the TSE Act to pin the teacher to be able to take responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you. We are running very behind schedule, so we thought we could get the most out of our fathers and moms in God, so that we can see how best we can handle.
Bishop Emmanuel is a bit unwell.
All right. So, all right. with us, we will. Thank you. This is an interesting scenario because we're dealing with reporting, we're dealing with justice, confidentiality, we're dealing with issues that actually face the church on a regular basis. Oh yes. So I could start with Bishop Ernest. You serve in a diocese that has a lot of pastoralists. So reporting can be a challenge. Let's start with there as a practical way, because one of the things we agreed is we must be very practical on what happens. How do you handle that? How do you deal with that? Let's just see how you deal with it back home.
Yes, thank you, Mark, and I also appreciate that question. I know we talked about a number of things, including how culture sometimes would contribute towards perpetuating these abuses. Because in our setting, in some of the communities that we serve, when an incident happens, like rape, or for instance, early marriage, the community themselves would be at the forefront, protecting the culprit and trying as much as possible to ensure that that matter can be handled within that setting. So even imagining of a situation where a report would come through, sometimes it becomes very difficult to identify. But whenever we are able to get that information, then again we pick it up very strongly, and also with the support and in partnership with government agencies, then we are able to follow through and ensure that action is taken.
All right, maybe Bishop Joe, we can learn from your experience, because I know England is slightly different from Kenya. The role of a bishop in such a setting, because your systems work differently from us. In Africa, they say that sometimes it is from England. How are you doing it? And particularly as a bishop, how do you play a role in making sure that safeguarding is implemented in the church?
If they are simply sitting on a shelf or even sitting on a website, but they're not embraced and understood and known and lived. And I think the same thing and writing it, but actually to live it. And living it isn't just about living it to the letter of the law. It's about, on the face of it, being nothing to do with safe church in a formal way. All our interactions build people to be mindful of who is vulnerable and hold each other to account. Even just people who come to church on Sunday. And everyone understands that there is mutual accountability. And that is really difficult to live out. And it's particularly difficult to live out between clergy and the clergy there. And perhaps it's even harder to live out between bishops and clergy, bishops and priests. Because we talk about accountability all the time, but we of us, and perhaps not give us that promotion or vote for us at some election if we say something risky. And something risky in the air, it must be named. The truth sets us free. So it's not just about implementing policy, it's about a culture where everyone in church is aware. And another thing I would just say before I finish is so often I think safeguarding issues are delegated to the women as if, well, perhaps because the women are seen to be closer to children or have more sensitivity to these issues. Sometimes that may be true, but if it is only half the church dealing with safeguarding, we will never manage to protect everyone. I have learnt, and I say this as a female bishop, I have learnt that unless men are engaged in this and leading on this, it is very hard for women to be heard on this issue, an issue that is not just about women.
Right.
I see Archbishop Jackson leading in the Anglican Church of Kenya, and I see something really distinctive. Hallelujah.
Amen. Bishop said in Burundi, you said Burundi is called the heart of Africa.
Of course.
And sometimes they say that African hospitality, which is a good characteristic and a good trait, sometimes can be the problem to things like reporting abuse. Because they will say, just hold it, understand, let's discuss it at personal level. How make this work in our context of a culture where we don't expose people, we are embarrassed to talk about our heads in the sand for too long. Particularly because we have a hospitable people. We welcome people.
I thought I would get someone to translate from French to from the current situation of what's happening and also what would be the ideal. I always think of the ministry of Jesus, how he cleaned the temple. You know, he had to chase, just to chase people, changing money and making business in the church and in the temple, a lot of things. But as a leader, we have the pressure on this side of the people, of what's happening, and also pressure of what, as a follower of Christ, bringing all those together. This is very important, without forgetting hospitality, but also without forgetting on the other side what would be, after me, what the people will say, he has done something, A, B, C, D. Among the presentations, there was something, a word, fear. Fear. Taking risk involves deciding what is your next fate. If you do this and you fear to be killed, you will be nothing. It's good to be killed when you have done something. I've been reading on this word fear. I came on the definition, maybe you know this former world champion, the boxer, Mike Tyson. He was defining fear like fear as an acronym. Forget everything and run. The other one is face everything and rise. On this is one word, fear. So you have to decide which one you can take. You know, you in a military. I didn't go to military service, but when you have been trained how to use different guns and what, and you fear, you forget whatever you have been trained. You have been given like instructions, and you become like you and me. You know, But when you want to face something, and of course, what we forget, I just wanted also to emphasize something, the word called prayer. Prayer. I had this word during these 3 days. This word prayer was just, if it was not the morning devotion or what, we didn't use this word. So we are being in the world dealing with the abuse and the what and all that things. Where does prayer comes from? All these matters. Maybe we'll be given another time to pray for prayer and retreat and pray for the perpetrators and also the victims. And so anyway, so it's good to look at things like not only we are defeated on what's happening in the world, but we can also look at what Jesus Christ has done on the cross. And when he said it is finished, and he resurrected on the third day as so, and we still have that important figure that we can look at and also continue calling him so that he can come and when we are praying, we can, the Holy Spirit can also reveal us what the people do not say, and we can also get it. But it's very good to get a very good investigation, and also praying, continue investigation, putting all the rows together and what the people have already put, and also prayer and hearing from the Spirit and looking at the eyes and see what's happening. But the hospitality does not mean that we cannot put our house in order.
Thank you. Praise the Lord. Yes. Professor, one of the things we realize that is a hindrance to reporting and sometimes just the justice system is the fear of the ripple effect. The fear of the ripple effect. A scenario is a house girl has been abused by the man of the house. And she's a mother of 2 children, so her salary goes to feed the home. If she reports, she'll lose her job, the children won't go to school, there'll be this. If she reports, the wife of the house will not believe her. The ripple effects. As a bishop, what would you do to help those who are vulnerable in that position, like a house help, or a wife who maybe is a homemaker and knows that if I speak, 1, 2, 3 will happen, as a bishop?
Many things come in my mind. First of all, I want to speak from my context of our diocese. I have this slogan: if you don't inspect, don't expect. Let me repeat. If you don't inspect, don't expect. And in my pastoral role, I'm busy inspecting that the policies we have is being put in place. And I've discovered if I'm not inspecting, I cannot expect any results. We need to encourage people to speak up. We need to give safe space. But unless as a bishop I inspect that the lay reader, the priest, is really creating this safe space and speaking to parents who are in church to be able to encourage people to come and speak, nothing will come out. Yesterday or the other day, someone talked about we live in a shame-honor culture. And because of that, people just persevere in the pain, in the problem. They die honorably or suffer honorably. for the sake of protecting the family, the siblings, the houses, and so on. And people trust that you keep their records and information well. They speak. I can tell you an example. When I became bishop, that very year, it became known, at least in our diocese, that you can trust me, whether you are on top or you are on the street. One of my officers died in a mysterious situation. And I went to the funeral, there with everyone. A young man came to me and told me, Bishop, our family here is deeply rooted in the East Africa of incest. And nobody knows about this. Nobody can call this because of the protecting the face of the clan, the family, and so on. But for you, I trust you. Help us. Be bishops. But to be now, if the space is self-reports and policies in action. In my case, I conclude on this, it is known. Our people have no secret. Maybe you are written down. They can't keep a secret. They like, have you heard? Did you know? Creating awareness, bringing mindset change. You say that evil must be confronted with the word. I want to ask the question. In all this, where is the place of the Holy Spirit? Because when I see the way Jesus was working, scripture which goes on well, actually the Holy Spirit prepares the ground and is in with everything going on.
Thank you, Bishop. We've heard it mentioned, talk about safe house and remove the survivor from harm and danger. Now, we have a problem. Government-sponsored safe houses. Most of them are either by NGOs or by private individuals. And the African culture was that the children and the family belonged to a family. So if, take for example, her family, okay? And even if she's in danger, she would first report home, then find a way to go home, and there is a conversation. How do we make that practical now when we talk about concepts like safe housing, which I don't know whether in Uganda it is. Yet we are thinking of safety and moving the person from harm. Bishop, let me ask, yes, Bishop Ernest.
Yes, as you rightly put it, that is a new concept to the African mind. Because many of our communities would live as that communal life. And I can liken that even to sometimes when there were go to the camp. They will just retreat, go be with their relatives, and that's it. And that's something that many people would do. But now, listening to many presentations that were made here, including the many examples that were given, sometimes even going to the relatives, in this case now of safeguarding, can be more exposing is important. But the question is, who should give priority and ensure that that happens? managed and run by the Anglican Church in Kenya. I've not heard of anyone. Yet we are a big province, and I know we are able to do many things. But having been with this conference, I think we all agree and acknowledge that it is something that needs to be given consideration, because in all those survivors. My sister Elena here was talking about when you go to the police station, to the children officers, many times they get stranded. And recently, we were interacting with one of the officers in Kericho. A lady who had been defiled comes to her office, she reports, but now in the evening she says hosting her,
which is costly. Suppose it was more than 1, 3, and that, so it's a big challenge even to the government officers on where to take the survivors. If the church should rise up to that occasion and begin to think of what can it be done so that we have more rescue centers where we can have these survivors, including very tender age. You make effort and say we must ensure that they are rescued, but now after that, where do you take them? It becomes another big question. So I think it's a challenge that we need to pick it up. And
what about in Burundi? How do you handle the safe house?
Maybe my brothers and sister would challenge me. We are still, and but it's something we are thinking on. We've been discussing. It involves people to be there, they are there, but it involves buildings, it involves feeding, it involves therapists and all those things. But still, even if it is like that, you talked of hospitality. Still, that is done, it is done in the houses, in the families. That one I know. And we used to do one. So it's I was shocked by Evelyn, the other lady, that she was in the church. She was a choir member. Yes. And she suffered and no one cared. You know? So it's I think not only Burundi or Kenya or in some other countries, maybe UK, they will tell us what they are doing on the practical, practically, not only words. It's very, very difficult. They hoped they would get hope. One time, just this comes in my mind. You know, Burundi has been civil unrest. One time, people were traveling at an evening, and they were coming from far away, and they said, in the night. We don't go to the police will ask, give your identity cards and where are you from and where you are going, why you are here. All those questions. It's not only Burundi. Police is like that everywhere. All over. But what happened? Those people, when it started getting dark, they said, tell us where the church is around in this place. Mm-hmm. And they said, the church is there, on that hill. There is the Anglican Cathedral. St. Peter's. It's there. Those people came and they said, they just came in the front of the cathedral. They said, we don't have anywhere to go, but we think the church is the safe place. And now we have come. So those people were referred to the dean, and they were given accommodation, and the food, safety was there. On the top of that, prayers. So they spent the night in a very, very beautiful way. And the following day, they continued their journey. So we need to put their emotions, you know, emotions. What should be done? And everyone would say, yes, it's good to do this. See? But practically, there is also something to all that I mentioned. So we have to bring all of them together and put them like this. So we'll be happy to learn next time from Kenya how many safe places you have, the Anglican Church has started, and also make Harambe and help us to go back and start that. And also UK, you have money. You have money. When we have the heart and the ideas and what we can do, I first heard of Safe House from Tear Fund. You see, from Tear Fund. And sincerely, let me tell you something. Maybe you will laugh at me. I even signed the policy, safeguarding policy. I signed it. How? But I would read all of that and say, what? But because Tear Fund was saying, you have to sign all those policies, and I signed. But I still keep on. How can I be more practical than only words?
Thank you, Bishop. We are going to take a break. We go for tea, and when we come back, we will be now asking a bit of some questions that, as our fathers and mothers in God, when we leave here, what are we going to do? Because the challenge is, like we've said, we have nice ideas, nice policy, we'll carry the document, we'll go back home, and then what next? So like Bishop Seth, you're saying, be practical. Yeah. Thank you. A few announcements.
We can release them to sit. Can we clap?
Let's appreciate the bishops and Provost Elena. Thank you so much. So when we come back, you will still come back here so that we do the last part.
Yeah. May I request you to stand a bit? Let's be upstanding.